Hey guys, what's up? This is your boy Dion Hudson coming at you again, straightforward and direct, with another one like the other one, but just a little different. So, this is a good one right here. This is a really important subject matter. Um, it's something that I truly believe people need to really think about and reflect on, and maybe it'll help you put things in perspective, right? Because we are living in the real world. Just because everything's virtual and technical and up in the air doesn't mean that we're not living in the real world. We're living in the real world, right? And so this is a real world subject. And so if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Okay, what do you guys know about that? Huh? To live by the sword and then to die by the sword. Okay, so if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Not everybody that's lived by the sword has actually died by the sword. They were blessed, fortunate, lucky, whatever words you want to use, to not actually die by the sword. They died by other causes, whether it was old age, sickness, or whatever. Then you had those who lived by the sword and they died by the sword. Okay. And then you have those who didn't live by the sword and they didn't die by the sword. Okay. So those are pretty much the three categories when we're talking about the sword. Okay. And the sword is a symbol of warfare. It's a symbol of violence. It's a symbol of armed conflict and how people deal with their disagreements. So the sword is the last resort, worst case scenario of how anyone should ever deal with their disagreement. But for some reason, as human beings, we've made that our first alternative, and we're like all the way in on it, right? So, um, but if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. What does that mean? Okay. So why is that important? It's important that you understand it because there's a lot of people who, for some reason, when someone dies by the sword, someone who's living by the sword dies by the sword, they want to feel sorry for them. They want to sit there and boo hoo. Okay. Y'all got it twisted, man. That's not how it goes. If someone lives by the sword and they die by the sword, right? That comes with the territory. It's a G thing. Okay? Don't get it twisted, man. You know, because when he was out there doing whatever he was doing, he wasn't taking no one else into consideration. He was stuck in his own world, his own way of doing things, and his own way of thinking. Okay? So when revenge, because revenge has different faces. And a lot of times when someone goes out like that, we're talking about retaliation and revenge. So when retaliation and revenge comes home, right, for some stuff that he did to someone else, should you feel sorry for him? Like I said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? Okay, we know this to be true. I'm not saying anything that history hasn't already proven to be true. I'm not saying anything that the 5 o'clock news hasn't already proven to be true. I'm not saying anything that your own personal experience in life hasn't proven to be true, right? The truth is the truth. So what's up with this feeling sorry for someone who dies by the sword when they lived by the sword? Okay, I'm gonna give you some people to feel sorry for. Feel sorry for innocent bystanders, okay, who had nothing to do with the sword, but they was caught in the crossfire. The innocent people that lose their lives, that get injured and lose their lives for something that had nothing to do with them because they was at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's who you feel sorry for. You don't feel sorry for a gangster though, man. You don't feel sorry for no thug, someone who's an outlaw out here on these streets moving like that, man. How you gonna feel sorry for somebody like that? Look, check it out. This is what you do. Pay your respects. If that's your homeboy, pay your respects, man. All right? Say, look, man, I loved him while he was here. They was a good person to me. They was a good friend to me. You know, say all the good stuff that you know about him. Pay your respects and leave it like that, right? But never feel sorry for an outlaw. Never feel sorry for someone who's living that lifestyle, man. And it just doesn't apply to outlaws, and it applies to anybody who's in a hazardous occupation. So this applies to military and law enforcement too. Okay, if you signed your name on a contract to become somebody's frontline soldier in someone's military, right? And you happen to die by an explosion and get your head blown off, how should your family feel about it? Yes, they should pay their respects to you. Yes, they should love the person who died this way, right? But should you feel sorry for them? Let's not forget that this person was living by the sword. They was in a business and an occupation where their job was to actively take lives. Okay? This is what they do for a living, right? You know, a lot of times, the way the ball rolls is that they've been swinging that sword for a minute, and it's people that's actually fell victim to their sword before they actually got hit with that same sword, right? Hey, when it's your turn to take it, don't cry, don't complain. When your time comes, every dog has his day. Okay, I know a lot of y'all can't really relate to that G shit, right? But I'm here to give you some game on it and a correct perspective on how to view it. Never feel sorry for someone who intentionally puts themselves in harm's way and they meet the consequences for putting themselves in harm's way. There's consequences for living by the sword. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. All right? Okay? That's the game. So if this is not a game that you want to play, if you don't believe in that, it's the truth. But if you don't want to accept that, don't pick up the sword. Don't live that lifestyle. Stay away from it. It's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, hey, it's not for me. I'm just not that type of guy, man. It's not for me. I'm not really with it like that. I don't believe it. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, you live a lot longer, you're more prosperous. There's more opportunities, better opportunities on a higher scale that come your way. Hey, I'm with you on it. If that's how you feel, hey, so be it. More power to you, right? But if for some reason you choose a different route and you're really into this other stuff, you have to accept everything that comes along with it, right? If you pick up that sword and you choose to live by that sword, then you must be willing to accept inevitable truth that when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's just the way it is.